Hi everyone. Good morning. So let us start this session. Hope everybody is able to hear me.
Yep.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So today we are going to start to understand about who is the full stack developer, how we can learn full stack web development, right? And after learning what is the current trend in the market to grab a job, and what are the technologies we are going to learn, how we can grab a job easily from the market, and what is the scope in IT industry, what are the major IT companies are hiring for full stack developer, all those things we'll see, right? So, I mean, on the weekend, we are inviting you people to start with understanding the full stack development. Hope it will be interesting session. At the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A also, right? Let us start. So this is the roadmap we are going to see. So a full stack developer, right? Who is an expert having a knowledge on both sides of development. So we are talking about both sides of development. What is that both side? One is front end, other one is back end. Okay. What is that comprised? Right? That we'll see one by one in the upcoming slide. So the developer has a knowledge and ability to create a complete web application. What is a complete web application? We know, like when you see a web application, interface will be there, like with a different control, different components, text box, radio button, checkbox, button, color coding, different font, different images, everything will be there. Okay, so that is on front end side. Okay, that is the user interface. But what will happen behind the scene when you click on a particular button? That we call it as an event, right? That is called our business logic or the backend. Okay, so both is comprised of, we call it as a complete web application. Okay, so front end. So we have different technologies, right? For the client side, as I said, like we are going to create a user interface which the user can interact. I click on it, I select one radio button, I type in something, I key in something, I mouse over, I get some information. That is called a front end. Okay. What is back end? The business logic. For example, you take a bank, right? I have an account, a savings account or a deposit account or whatever, right? When I deposit my money, each and every month or quarterly or early, I'm going to get an interest, depends on my age criteria, right? It could be minor, major, senior, whatever it is, right? So those kind of calculation will be calculated using the backend technologies like Java, core Java, which is a backbone of backend, right? And then Spring Boot, which is a framework, right? And then we will come into the database part. Okay, so backend in the sense, it's not only a middleware where we do the business logic, right? But whatever we do, it has to be updated in the database so that when the user visits the next time, they'll be able to grab the information. For that purpose, we'll be using a database. So all these three clubbed together, we are going to create a complete web application. So database, we will see different technologies there, right? MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, and everything. Both are one and the same if you know the syntax. Okay. So after learning this, what is the market value, right? In all the IT industry, the emerging phase is the web development with the different tech stack. But most preferably, they will look into the full stack developer, right? Because we are not going to work on different technology. A person who works on user interface, the company won't prefer like I want only Angular developer. I want only a Java developer. They want a mix of all the person specialist all together, right? So that is the reason full stack developer is having a high market value. Okay, the job, right, in the market, it is high. That we'll see down the line. How much is the demand? What is the salary? What is the statistics which is given by USA government and everything? We'll see. Okay, and that is a limited workforce because we are going to use multiple hats, right? When you are becoming a full stack developer, you know the front end, you know the back end, you know the database. That is the reason in the IT industry there will be a limited workforce, but you will be easily able to grab a job in the market. Okay, productivity will be high because we are not going to depend on one technology. Angular developer will not depend on middleware. Middleware developer will not depend on Angular or database or everything, right? So a single person is going to have multiple roles and responsibilities. Okay, so even when you are getting into a different scenario, like the company don't want to have a people at the time, because you know all the different technologies, they will keep you because you are a superb resource who knows all the different technologies. Okay, so the different technology stack we are going to look into this particular course is in the front end, we'll see Angular, which is a framework, right? And then Bootstrap, which is a CSS framework. Okay, backend we'll use Core Java, Spring Boot, Data JPA, Spring REST APA. Okay, so here we have seen only Java and Spring Boot, but other technologies also we'll see. And in database, we'll see MySQL, and tools we'll use Maven, Node.js, Postman, all those different technologies, right? And in editor, we'll see IntelliJ for building backend, Spring Boot and Java, and Visual Studio for front end, and maybe we can see Eclipse also. So these are the technology stack we'll cover in this full stack developer curriculum. So how the framework will looks like, right? So in front end, we can see like we can use Angular or React.js or Vue.js, right? But in US and India market, everybody prefer Angular only, right? Only in UK market, they prefer React.js. So 80% only we are concentrating right now. But if you are interested into React also, we'll be starting a React.js course separately down the line. Okay, but here we are concentrating on US and India market. So we prefer Angular as the front-end technology, where it interacts with the backend, Spring Boot with REST API and Java, and which interacts in turn with database MySQL. So this is how our framework looks like for this particular curriculum and project. Okay, so what is an Angular? Angular is a web-based front-end application which is based on TypeScript and which is a superset of JavaScript. Okay, so from the JavaScript only TypeScript came in, and which creates a single page application. What do you mean by single page application? We will see after a couple of slides. Okay, but you see, Angular is a user interface, single page. We can use Angular for a single page application, right? And we can use it in any device. That is the reason we prefer Angular over any different technology, right? So we can use it in your laptop or iPad or mobile or iOS or iPhone or whatever technology, right? Whatever devices, the user interface won't change at all because it has all the classes, properties, decorators, and everything. That's why we choose Angular. Okay, and you can use this Angular technology without any code change. You can run that particular code in any platform, right? Any kind of browser or any kind of devices. Okay, so why Angular, right? While comparing traditional application, right? In traditional application, when you take about HTML or JSP or Spring MVC or whatever, right? Whenever the request comes in from a browser, and then it goes and hit the database and render the response back, the entire page, right? The entire page is getting reloaded. The entire page is getting reloaded, whether you will be having a single control changes or whatever, but doesn't matter, right? So there will be a performance issue in the traditional application. But whereas in the case of Angular, it provides it dynamically load only the particular control. You can see here, see the header component, footer component, layout remains the same. Only this body component is going to change. That's why we choose Angular, right? And what is a single page application? That's what we are coming here, right? So partially it updates the client side application. It goes and hit the server using the REST API call, right? So it's going to respond back only the particular data. For example, in the entire page, right? I want to check what is my interest, right? Maybe my other data will be there. What is my account number, my address, everything will remain the same. Only I am checking what is my quarterly interest? What is my annual interest? What is my monthly interest? Right? Only that particular text area, text box it is going to refresh. Right? That is what we call it as partially update. Right? So that's why we choose this particular text tag. So here you can see some of the example. Right? What are the different applications who uses Angular? Right? Our Google Maps, our email, Gmail, right? Citibank uses it, Microsoft Xbox, Australian immigration, all these companies, high-level companies, they use Angular as the front-end technology. Here you can see the history, right? It started with 2010 as Angular JS version, which is the older technology. Nowadays, nobody is using it. And there is a drastic change between Angular 1 to 2, okay, between 2010 to 2016. After that, gradually it has been increased and we are in Angular 14 2022, right? But there is no drastic change between Angular 2 and Angular 14, okay? But don't ever try to learn this Angular JS technology because there is a huge hell lot of changes. You can learn from Angular 2 to any other version, doesn't matter, right? Some kind of enhancement will be there, okay? So for to learn Angular, these are the prerequisites. You have to understand something about your HTML. What is a front-end technology? I mean, HTML is a hypertext markup language where we can design a page using different controls like label, text box, option button, checkbox, grid, and everything. CSS, it's about how your color coding. For example, here background is blue color, here it is white. The font is in particular font number and particular font, right? Verdana or Arial or whatever, right? So all these things will be taken care by your CSS. HTML is for our designing purpose, but here we are going to use Angular and TypeScript. Okay, so TypeScript also will cover as part of Angular. These are all basic, right? We'll cover HTML, CSS, TypeScript, everything, JavaScript also, right? Some basic understanding and then deep dive into TypeScript also because because of TypeScript only, you can render the page in any devices. If you are using JavaScript, it won't be rendered in any platform, right? And then middleware, we are going to talk about our Bootstrap as well as Java and everything. Okay, CSS is the framework, and on top of it, we are going to use Bootstrap, where it is very easy to develop the user interface screen. Right? In middleware, we'll see core Java, which is the backbone of any backend technology, which is an object-oriented and secure programming language. What is object-oriented? We can use objects, classes, interfaces, inheritance, and everything, right? Where we will interact with our database directly using Pojo of Java. Okay, what is Pojo? Plain old Java object. For example, you have an employee object. Employee will have multiple attributes like your employee ID, employee name, department. All those things will create a field and then that is going to interact with the database without writing any query, right? And then it is a API which can run in any platform because Java supports platform independent. Means I can write a code and run in any OS. It could be Red Hat or Linux or Mac OS or Windows. It doesn't matter because JIE is going to take care irrespective of our OS. Right? Spring Boot, which is again a middleware where we will have a framework. On top of the framework, we are going to have the core Java as the business logic, right? And then data JPA to store, interact with Hibernate using MySQL as a database, which stores the data, and REST API is going to pull the data from the server, from the MySQL, and then render back in our user interface Angular, right? And REST, it is a representational state transfer where we are going to pass our input from Angular to Spring Boot and then through MySQL database and get the data, right? So we will be able to use this REST API, which acts as a middleware between frontend and database. Okay, so if I want a ledger balance from user interface Angular, I will pass I mean, this is the person, he wants the interest. Okay. So for that particular person, the REST API is going to get that ID, send it to MySQL, and MySQL is going to get the data back through data JPA, and REST API will gather that information and send it back to Angular. Okay. So all these framework are interlinked, right? So they will pass in the information from starting to end, Angular to database, and gather the information. Okay. So data JPA is used to gather the information and pass it back to the front end. Okay. And core Java, because this is also prerequisite we need to have. So we will cover all these basic topics as well as advanced topic also before getting into the curriculum, right? And then architecture looks like this, right? The entire architecture, wherever you go in a full stack developer, whether the UI technology could be changing, it could be Angular or Vue.js or React.js, and what are the basic things like templates we saw, right? I mean, left hand side, some menu item will be, navigation will be there, top and header will be there, bottom footer will be there, and then component services where we are going to split the modules, and using HTTP client, I'm going to pass my front end information to the backend using REST API, and the REST API is going to interact with my Spring Boot framework, and which in turns it is going to interact with our database, and back and forth the request and response will be gathered. This is how our architecture looks like. Okay. And REST API will have different methods, right? Why we are going for REST API? Because I'm going to render the response back in any format. It could be JSON or XML, right? I'm not going to pass the information in one format, so that I can render the response in any technology, any device. Could be Android phone, iPhone, browser, iPad, or whatever. My response is same. The technology in the front end is going to differ. Okay. So this is again our high level, right? How the application looks like client side, and then Spring Boot REST API, and then database. So here it's about what are the differences are there, right? If I have to interact, I mean, I'm going to have the data JPA, means I can use this, or Hibernate, you have to use it, I have to use it, or MySQL, or instead of MySQL, I want to have Oracle database. Just differentiate, I will configure, and it is going to interact. Okay. And the Spring Boot, it is a framework where all these property files will be configured, where we can interact with our database dynamically. And irrespective of hard coding it to one particular database, I can configure only this code in future if I want to change it to MySQL to Oracle. Okay. So everything is plug and play. That's why we choose this Spring Boot application, right? And then we use repository, which is a layer in between, where when we send out a request to save the data, right, it is going to create one more layer between data JPA and between MySQL. And REST controller, this is about like when you get into deep dive, we'll see all these things like what is a REST controller, cross origin, request mapping, right? If I want to handle one particular request, I'll use request mapping. If I want to handle my different technology from Angular to REST API, I'll use cross origin, so that I'll be able to interact with any technology, right? So we'll see all these things right now. I mean, what is the different tech stack and everything. How about my future if I learn this particular full stack developer, right? So, okay, let me answer this question. Okay, hold on. React will support single page application, but only thing is in US and India industry, we are not preferring it for, because like when we are looking for multiple people, right? I mean, for Angular, we prefer for US and India. Okay. Hope that answered the question. Okay. So what is the growth path, right? So if I learn, as I said, right, I mean, full stack developer, it is there in the market because you are going to wear multiple hats, right? You are not going to work on one technology. Like I am telling, like I know Angular, I am a front-end developer. Okay, then the demand will be less. If you say like I am a Spring Boot developer or a Java developer, then demand will be less. Okay, so that's why we are telling like please focus on full stack developer where you know all different technologies together, right? Okay, so how is the pay scale after learning this full stack? So even in a fresher, right? Even if you are a fresher, right? I have seen in the 20 years of experience, earlier before 3 years, it started with the 3.5 lakhs. Okay, right now, last week I heard that also even increased, right? A couple of weeks before, I heard from my company, like they said, like 5.5 lakhs. Right now, that also increased, it seems, like 7 lakhs and all depends on the company, right? For a fresher. So think about the experienced people. So why we have to learn very only few resources are there in company and they are not looking for a particular person who knows only Angular or a Java backend. Okay. If you are a single team size, small team size, they cannot wait for a person like let the Angular person complete the code and then start with the backend developer and then let the database developer complete the course, complete the coding and then let us pull Angular developer and all, which is impossible, right? So they will recruit one or two people who can wear these multiple hat roles and responsibilities, and then they will take it. Okay, so the quality of application will be increasing because you know all three different technologies. Even if it is a small team size, you will be able to own the entire particular project, not depending on particular tech stack, right? So that is why we are telling like get into this particular course. Okay, and here you can see there is a use bureau statistics says they are looking for 850K people by 2024. Are right now in 2022 135K only demand is there, but the demand is going to be 7 times bigger in 2024. Okay, so the salary is also increasing drastically. So that's why we prefer this full stack developer curriculum. Okay, and here it's about the pay scale where they say like they can grab a salary with 58 to 97 K for per annum for depends on your expertise. Could be a mid developer like 5+ years of experience or 8+ years of experience. Okay, we'll have the flexibility to adapt to any different technology. It could be Angular or Spring Boot or Java or database or whatever. Right? All the top-notch companies are hiring this full stack developer. Could be Facebook, Google, Microsoft, IBM, Cognizant, Infosys. All these technologies are looking for full stack developer. Right? Let me unmute everybody and then let's see like we'll get into all the questions and all. And you can see here, as I said, like in the graph, you can see like depends on the number of years of experience, the salary is increasing from 3.5 lakhs. I have seen in the past till like 45 lakhs also, right? Depends on your expertise level, right? So there is no limit at all for this full stack developer nowadays. Okay. But if you are a fresher, you start your career, then minimum is 3.5. Okay. Max, there is no limit. Depends on your expertise you learn from the market. Right. And after completing this technology, we'll be creating a uh, page, I mean, web publication like this. Like we'll create using Angular, Spring Boot, Data GPA, MySQL, and everything. Okay. So this is how our framework looks like. Let me show you directly here also. Okay, so here it came, the user interface is coming here, right? But I have to run my backend also. Let me open my database. And let me run my backend also. Okay. So my backend is also running. Let me go to my front end. Okay. So for example, here I'm creating it. I can see here my page is getting rendered. Right. If I want to delete it, I can delete it. We can see the CRUD operation also. Right. All those things we'll cover. Like we'll see how the framework looks like, what are the files are there, what each and every file does, what is the syntax, why we have written this kind of code, right? Everything we'll see, as well as here in UI, like how is the folder structure, what are the files are there. You will understand from basic till the high level. Okay. So these are the things we'll cover as part of this particular curriculum, and we'll cover the project work also by understanding Angular as a front-end technology, and then core Java, Spring Boot, Data JPA as a backend, and the intern database, which is going to interact through Data JPA, MySQL. Okay, so why KSR? We cover all the technologies, we cover creating a project, and then how we prepare a resume for you, how you can represent in front of you, I mean, in the interview, right? How we can face an interview. And we'll provide you the guidance also how we are going to face the interview, right? Everything will guide you on resume preparation, how to face, how to talk, how do you interact, because I'm having 20 years of experience and I might have interviewed around 10,000 people in the past, right? So I know what kind of questions we can guide you, what kind of answers you have to face, and then how we can talk, how we can present yourself, right? Technically, functionally, right? How we can cover those people, right? Everything we will take care. And we will provide all the basic interview questions, and then we'll have a mock session also before getting into client conversation. Okay. So these are the things we'll cover. So right now, I'll hand over to you people. If you have any questions, we can have it.
So this is Sai here. How
Yes.
much time it will just take to just cover these technologies? And I believe it just needs a very good practice and time also at the same time. So
Hmm.
what time?
So, so if you have to learn the entire full stack, it will take minimum 3 months, and we'll cover project work and everything. So 3 months is good enough. So it will be like if you put complete effort, then I mean it will take. But here we'll spend 1.5 hours each day, right? So it will take 3 months. So 5 days only we'll have session, Monday to Friday, right? And then 4 weeks will be the right each and every month. So three months we'll be able to cover Angular, Core Java, Spring Boot, Data JPA, MySQL, and the prerequisite like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, uh, REST API, everything will cover.
Okay. So instead of MySQL, so
Hmm.
can we have, because MS SQL,
Hmm.
so whether it can be a good combination with the Java, because
Uh,
see, normally with Java we just use Oracle as a database, but of course
hmm.
with the connectors you can use it, but sometimes
Hmm.
this becomes buggy sometimes actually in between.
No issue, because in IT industry, right? I am in IT industry. Mostly they prefer Oracle or MySQL. But I can tell you like how we can connect, because as I told you, Spring Boot we can configure it. I'm not going to hard code anything,
Okay.
right? So it is 5 minutes of time. How it is going to interact with Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, whatever you want, right? It is just a configuration. So he said, I'm not going to do too much of coding at all. Let me show you that page, right? So don't worry about it. It is just 5 minutes of configuration, right? No hard coding. That everything will, the framework will be taken care of. So here you can see here, right? So these lines of statement you are going to change. Maybe some of the field structure may change. That's it. So no worry about it. I'm not going to write a create query or select query or whatever. Everything the framework is going to take care. Only thing is the dialect and the connectivity, only the 2 parameters, 3 parameters you are going to change. That's it. And the database, I mean, the column name may change, right? For that, I will train you. That's it. Now, no need to worry. Don't think too much. It is like 0.001%. That's it.
Okay. And so how you have just explained this, the middleware, the front end and the back end, the database. So is it this is synonym for the three-tier architecture? That's what
Uh,
we have just
yeah.
learned from
So
the.
earlier we say like 3 layer only, right?
Mhm.
Like I mean, when I was working earlier before 10 years, right?
Yep,
We
yep,
split
yep.
that layer into 7 layers. Okay. I mean, right now we call it as a 3 layer because front end, Angular, back end, our business logic, everything we call it as a Java,
Middleware.
Spring Boot, everything middleware. And database, I mean, right now we are not going to separate. Maybe if you are asking, you can consider 3rd layer also. But our core job, it is going to interact with the database, right? So if you think like it's a 3 layer, I mean, you can say it's a 3 layer. Earlier we were telling like 4 layers, 7 layers above because we'll be creating a data repository, resource implementation, everything. So right now we can call it as a 3 day front end, back end, and database.
And before joining it, what are the prerequisites? Because see, for a layman, actually, if he would like to just step into this world,
Correct.
uh, then what is the eligibility criteria? What he should be
Um,
knowing, and how much time he should be spending? Any such thoughts?
See, if when I am taking a course, I'll be thinking like you does not know anything. Okay, you know only computer, you know how to switch on charge. Okay, that's all I will be thinking about it.
That's
More
why
than
KSR.
that, okay. So I will go to the session like you don't know anything. You are not from IT industry. You are from mechanical background, right? Okay, you know only computer how to switch on. Or you know how to open a browser, how to Google it. Okay, rest of and all I will take care. For prerequisite, I am taking about like core Java, which is not required, but still like if you are a fresher or something, you have to understand, even though it's the heart or backbone of the backend, we are not going to write the entire core Java. We are going to use only the few APIs. Okay, but still I want to cover everything. Okay. See, for example, here you don't need to know everything. Mostly you will be using this collection framework, exception handling, right?
Mhm.
Interfaces. The file is not required, introduction of Java is not required. Maybe some kind of OOPS concept, data
Oops.
type variable. Right? These are the things required. But I will cover everything so
Okay.
that you know the backend. Angular, I will cover basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, and then get into Angular. Okay. So for backend, you get into core Java and then deep dive into Spring Data JPA, STAPA, okay, and then MySQL or Oracle. I will get into like what kind of query you will write for DDL, DML, TCL, and everything.
So at the end of the day, we can just manage or build a website actually, which will be interacting with the database at the backend
Correct,
uh,
correct, correct.
environment. Okay,
Yeah.
and how and what about the patches and how we should be maintaining it if we have to just maintain that server at the backend? Because see, as a full stack developer, on
Mm,
the one side you will be maintaining a database and you
mm,
will be maintaining the patches will be taken care by the admin team. That's a different thing, but
mm.
all this credentials and everything, so are we just going to learn? Because when you have to maintain a website, if some error comes and something comes up, so how we troubleshoot? So that's the
That will be like kind of you're talking about the different way, right? When you create a package and then I mean put it into a web server where it runs,
yep,
right?
yep, yep. That
So
is right.
the framework, this is for grabbing a job, not for creating a
uh,
web portal for you, because this will be expensive. Okay,
okay,
when you get into a portal, when you look into database, right, it depends on the technology stack, the cost will be huge. Okay, so
okay.
only for you getting a grabbing a job in IT industry only, the session will be there. Okay, if you want to design your web page portal, then this will be more for you. Okay, for that I'll say like you want to create your web page only, then go for WordPress only.
Okay. No, sir. My intention is
Hmm,
there is a requirement actually in my
hmm,
department where
hmm,
there is a portal actually which is very old right now, and it is
hmm,
not cross-platform compatibility with the new
hmm,
browser versions which is coming.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
So I would like to take that opportunity and build that one, because every resources will be given by the team or the department whenever we request via Snow or whatever. So, but that will be used by around 40 to 30, 40 to 50% actually. Okay. And how, so that, and with this, how we can just get it done, and so that will be easy for the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
department.
Maybe at
And
the end of the
process will
session, maybe I can, when we get time, I can tell you. But for deployment purpose, we'll be getting a WAR file or a jar file, and then give it to those team, and then I
Yes.
can say like how we can troubleshoot.
Okay. And what's the course structure? Like course structure, the entire course structure, and what's the fees about? So
That maybe you can have a question
Mahesh.
in this. I mean, I have given this slide here, right? This is the contact number you can reach, and you can reach this particular number, and then you can reach different portal here, right? I mean, here you can see here KSR
Yeah, I
Datavizon.
know Mahesh actually. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I've just touched
So
with Mahesh.
just have a call with Mahesh, try to understand, right? Grab the curriculum, and then ask him like for the fee structure,
Yeah,
when we can start the batch and everything, then we can take it further.
sure. Thank you. So mostly it will be plug and play, and it's not like, see, I have got an experience. It's like 15, 20 years that when I have learned Java and just worked on that, and I just create some web pages, but it's been a good time. And
Hmm.
I left that particular field. But since there is an opportunity which is coming up, and I don't want to just lose my skill set which I have learned earlier,
No,
would
no,
like to
no.
just map up with this current environment. So
Yeah.
that's why
Might be
I'm
you
asking.
might have created a JSP servlet and all with this particular technology.
Yeah, but that's, I just worked on Beans and Eclipse and everything
Yeah.
very fast.
Java Beans.
RMI,
Yeah.
yeah, RMI remote
Long
monitoring location. So
2008, right?
that,
AJP
yeah,
was there.
2007, 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but still I have my notes, but I'm not able to get it again. It's the time is the matter. So that's why.
Yeah.
If
That
someone
much
can
kind of.
assist, then I can
Hmm.
just go on. So this
That
is
at
what.
all, I mean, long before story, right? I mean, you have to write n number of files. I think
Oh,
around 7 or
that,
12 files you have to write for EJP.
and
Right
that's why
now,
getting back again. So I always fear that getting back. Oh, come on, it's too much. So
no, nothing. That's what. 7 files you have to create. Okay.
okay,
So right now for modularity, you see here how many folders are there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just four.
Yep,
Just
you
four.
have defined your class, employee controller, and
Exception handling model is about you're not going to write anything, right? So this is about your Pojo, right? This is the database. Instead of EJP, you have this repository. Okay, that's it. This is exception. This is just a model, no coding. This one and this one are important. This one also data JP is going to take care. Only this one you have to do. That's all.
great.
Nothing else. See here, very simple.
Yep,
Not too much of code.
yep, I can see.
If you see EJP, you have to write 7 to 12 files.
Yep, I made and just making into a jar file and again reclassifying. Again, it
Yeah,
comes up
yeah,
again.
yeah,
Many
yeah,
things it
yeah.
happen.
Right now, everything has been done.
Okay, thanks. That's it from my side. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for all the information.
Anybody else has any questions? Feel free to ask any questions and then try to understand what is a full stack developer. I mean, it's easy to grab a job because you're not going to work for one technology in IT industry. Right? Any questions from anyone? The session is only for you people, right? So
Hello.
yeah,
Yeah, hi. Is there any difference between Spring and Spring Boot?
Spring and Springboard. Spring is
Yeah,
a framework,
Frame.
right?
Yeah.
Which has n number of components earlier, right? Around 12 components, right? For we call it as Spring IOC core and everything. Where I mean, they have a boilerplate code. They will be having the XML configuration and everything. Because in the case of Spring Boot, everything is rotation based, right? So that
Okay.
is a major change from Spring to Spring Boot. That's why we prefer Spring Boot as a framework in all the IT companies. Everybody is moving away to Spring Boot framework and microservices also.
Okay.
That's a drastic change. And only thing is behind the scene, what is happening, you have to know. For interview, you have to know what are the different transitions, what is happening behind the scene. That's all. I will train you everything, like each and every line of code, what it does, why we have written that particular code, what is going to happen, how it is going to interact with your data API, how it is going to call your REST API, how it is going to call your Pojo, how the Pojo is going to interact with your database, like how I am going to render a response back to my front end. Everything will see line by line.
So how much time we have to spend at our backend once the class is over, and if you would like to practice, how much time actually we have to just do it on our side for practicing, and how much?
Maybe I can say like if you put effort, not more than 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, it means if we just go for 2 hours per day, if we just put ourselves and get it just done, so it will just make it good.
When you're getting into troubleshoot, right? I mean, you have to sit. If you don't know, right, certain things if you stuck up on all, you'll be sitting in front of the computer. Simply, we can say in the call like 2 hours can I spend on all, right? When the output is not coming, you'll be sitting, you'll be googling, right? Right. So initial effort you will put maybe 6 hours and all. After that, maybe you'll put 2 hours. That's it.
Okay.
Depends on the passion you have.
Yeah, weekends are the perfect time actually where we
It
can
should not
just
be
go.
something like you come and sit in the class and then listen and then don't touch any of the ID and don't write any code. Then you don't right? You have to write the code, execute it. Whatever code I am giving, you have to go there, change it, create an error, fix that error. Then only you learn.
Mhm.
Any other questions from anybody? Akshay, Faya, Hari, Praveen, Sanjeev, Sai, any questions? I think I have answered Sai a lot. Anybody else? Guys, it is your session, so you can ask any questions.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Spring Boot is used for only for web applications and mobile, right?
What does it matter? I mean, I'm not going to use it for mobile. If you say it is Angular, okay. Spring
Okay.
Boot, the framework where we are using it for a
Backend.
backend. Okay, I cannot say like it is a mobile device or iPad or whatever.
Okay.
Angular, you can say like it is for your devices. Okay, it is a framework where you use it for backend. Even without user interface, Spring Boot are used. For example, I want to connect to what do you call microchip. I can use this particular framework, right? I can use the batch and then do a EOD process, right?
Okay.
Ledger balance update. I can use Spring Boot. The backend. Don't.
Okay. So it is used for functionality.
Functionality.
Yeah.
Business logic purpose.
Okay.
And apart from that, will you be giving us the materials or the reference books actually where we can refer or go through or learn?
I have n number of books, but you will not have time to learn.
Yes.
Don't worry.
But for reference, actually, whenever we would like to see the code,
I mean,
we can
directly get
yeah.
into Spring in action or Angular in action, or I mean, but you will not learn. Okay, I can
Yeah.
tell you directly because it will have 500 pages, 600 pages.
Oh, that's why for reference only.
I
Whenever we
can give
just
you, and you have a framework. I mean, Porter itself is there, which is done by Spring, Java, and everything. I can give you. Angular, they have their own sites, right? So that now will help you. I mean, instead of looking into documentation, you can look into this portal itself, which are created by them.
it means we can just grab and copy the code and just work accordingly.
Yeah,
And just
they have
modify,
given
customize, and get.
correct.
Okay.
First of all, you have to create an error and then do it. Then you will learn.
So at the end of the day, you have to know what the code says, but customization you can do your own if you
Yeah,
know all these things. So
yeah.
ready-made. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Everywhere Google will help you. Copy paste it, change
Yes.
it. Even in IT industry, nobody is coding. Okay. You just grab the code, copy paste it, change the functionality, change the method name, what the company says.
Yep. Thanks.
Hello.
Yeah.
So in Spring, what is the microservices in Spring?
Microservice is a different part of course where I have to go elaborately and I have to explain. So that is not covered as part of it. When you are looking for large scale application, it's like one method we are splitting into multiple. Like for example, if I have multiple module in place, like for example, bank account you pay, right? Savings account, loan account, and everything. I want to split it into different so that if there is a change in code, it won't affect. So that is called microservice. That's it. So that will be a separate chapter altogether, which has to interact with the developer. So we are not covering as part of it. Maybe the other course will come.
Mhm.
Maybe I can walk through it if we have time after completing this course. I can give you high level, maybe 2 hours or something, however microservice looks like. Only configuration is required and then splitting the model. That's it.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Hope we had a good session. Please feel free to reach out to Mahesh if you have any other. Sorry, you were asking something?
No, sir. It's okay. It was really informative one. So
Yeah.
encouraging to
Okay.
go
No,
further.
I mean, see, in IT industry, till our lifetime, you have to keep on learning. Okay.
Learning.
Okay. You think like I cannot do coding, and here it is very minimal coding. It's not huge.
Yep.
They add you in the IntelliJ, right? 2 lines or 3 lines of code. Not like huge coding also.
Yep.
Okay, so it will be interesting. In the initial stage, you will be struggling, but maybe after a few weeks, you will feel okay because you will be able to grab a job easily, right? I have seen in the past in the interviews like 5 years they are asking 25 lakhs, right? Then 30 lakhs, 32 lakhs, 35 lakhs. That way they are asking salary. But finally, what they know is Spring MVC, not even Spring Boot.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine, guys. If you don't have any other questions, we'll wind up. Maybe I'll give you a last chance, a couple of minutes. Right now it is 11:51. Let's see like any other questions is coming up. Please feel free to reach out this particular portal ksrdatavizon.com. So we are working on this, and then you can go and register here in Datavision and then see the full stack developer course. Mahesh will be putting you on YouTube and webinar and everything. Maybe you can reach out to him on this particular URL. Hibernate is used. Yes, that is used in the backend behind the scene. I will go through it. However, Hibernate is used. Fire, you can, if you have any other questions, I can answer, not an issue. Okay, but for React, I told you that also supports single page application, but Angular JS, HTML, CSS won't support single page application. Hibernate is used in turn, which is handled by DataGPT.
Sir, one last question.
Ah.
How these technologies will be working with Microsoft platforms? Because uh, in our organization, mostly, normally actually what happens that you will be working on a Microsoft platform rather than onto other, mostly, okay, for the small, rather than the big projects. So how these technologies will be interacting with the Microsoft? Is that comfortable or compatibility? So is there any issues actually with this, or Microsoft has its own different tools what
You
we
are
are using?
talking about Microsoft in the sense, are you talking about the browser or the OS you are
No,
talking about?
yeah, with compatibility with the Office 365 apps. For example, which I am intended to just make one portal or
Okay,
that
let me.
will be just Microsoft project from compatibility, exporting from the data from the Microsoft project to this, and that how it works. Is there will be any
No,
issues?
all three layers, different things you have to understand. Okay, middleware where we have Java. Okay, where it is a Java platform independent in nature, right? It means it can support any operating system. It could be Microsoft, Red Hat Linux,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, it's a platform independent. You can
yeah.
just go for
So
embedded system.
middleware, forget about it. Okay, and front end. Angular in the starting itself, I told you, which is support any
Every of
device.
the platform. Yep.
Okay, so that also, irrespective of your device or voice, it supports. Okay, so front end we are done, middleware we are done, database, right? Whether you will be having MySQL or
Any-
SQL Server or whatever, we are going to configure only the Spring Boot,
Okay.
right? How it is going to impact?
So
Only in the
mostly it's
model,
platform independent.
platform independent. Everything will work in anything. That's why we prefer Angular.
Yep. And it's one of the best technology because you don't need like platform independent. You can just work on any platform, either at
Correct,
mobile
correct.
or
Only thing is, this database field maybe depends on the database you are going to change it. It could be long, sometimes it will be something else.
Yeah, it depends upon your parameters actually, what you are
That's
using
it.
and how much you would like to just and how they are accommodating on how much
Correct.
limit
Yeah.
is there.
That's
Okay.
it. That is the only change we need. Good. I think this is the first time I'm hearing too many questions on this technology.
Because we would like to learn if interest is there. Of course, we have all the questions that whether what we intended to, whether it will be working with that or it will just getting a buggy one.
Ah,
See, maintaining and just that is also a somewhat different part of our job where you would like to just don't want to.
good,
If it
good.
goes smoothly, then it's okay and fine. But if it's
Yeah,
buggy, then we have to just look for
yeah,
another one.
yeah. Understood. Okay. I think we are done. Please reach out to Mahesh on this particular contact information given, and we go to this particular portal and then see like any other questions you have. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time. Hope this session is so informative for you people to grab a job, how we can get into full stack developer, how we can learn and then get into the IT industry.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone for your time on a weekend.
Happy weekend. Same to you, everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.